Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with some more updates coming out from the war between Russia and Ukraine, and I've got some big news to share with you here today. We're going to start off with this story here that Ukrainian missiles struck the occupied Donetsk region and killed 6 North Korean officers. Okay, now this is very big. Apparently, it was probably some sort of training camp. There were Russians here at the time as well. Apparently, Russia was training some of the North Korean troops. And when these missiles came in, we had 20 soldiers in total that were killed, along with 6 officers from North Korea. Now, this is very big news. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is the first time we have confirmation of North Korean soldiers or officers being killed over here inside of Ukraine. Now, we heard months back that North Korea was going to be deploying some of their troops over to this war in Ukraine on the eastern side of the country. And now we've got the first confirmation of North Korean soldiers being killed. Okay, so this is very big news. We're going to talk more about this today and find out what happened here. And then I've also got a report that looks like we had a drone attack last night targeting an oil depot inside the Voronezh region. I think in the town of Anna, I think is the name. So we'll discuss that. And then also we had another oil depot that was exploding inside of Russia. The Russian Defense Ministry claiming that this one was not hit by drones, but it was in the Perm-Krai region, which is approximately around 11 to 1,200 kilometers deep into Russia. Okay, so very far deep. Obviously, Ukraine has the ability to strike these oil depots if they wanted to that are 1,200 kilometers away. But according to Russia's defense ministry, they said it was not attacked by drones, that there was some sort of accident on the property. So I don't know exactly what happened there, but for sure we had an oil depot that was struck in the Voronezh region just last night. Okay, so we'll be showing you some video footage coming out from that. But let me jump on over here to mainstream news just for a moment. This is from Kiev Post. It says missile strike near Donetsk eliminates 6 North Korean officers, according to intel. 6 officers from North Korea were among the 20 soldiers killed in a Ukrainian missile strike on Russian-occupied territory near Donetsk, intelligence sources say. Now, wonder what kind of missiles were used here. Probably either HIMARS or ATACMS, but I would probably assume that most likely is going to be HIMARS. So let's go ahead and check out this report here. It says more than 20 soldiers were killed as a result of an October 3rd missile strike on Russian-occupied territory near Donetsk, including 6 officers from North Korea who came to confer with their Russian counterparts, Kiev Post intelligence sources said. 3 more North Korean servicemen were wounded. Okay, so 3 more North Korean soldiers were also wounded in this attack, and then we had 6 confirmed officers that were killed. So this is very, very big news. And if you notice here, it says they came to confer with their Russian counterparts. Okay, so Russia is basically training the North Korean troops that are over here inside of the eastern portion of Ukraine and training them to potentially prepare for war in their own country. We had some reports just coming out earlier, I think it was just as of yesterday, that the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un was warning of nuclear war once again with South Korea. Obviously, lots of tensions over there right now. North Korea has been sending lots of trash balloons over into South Korea. South Korea even warning of responding militarily as well to that. So definitely tensions on the Korean Peninsula are high right now. And it says, according to reports from Russian social media, prior to the missile strike, the Russians were demonstrating 2 North Korean representatives the training of personnel for assault actions and defense. So see, actively training over here in the Donetsk region. Last year, Ukraine's main intelligence directorate, HUR, reported the arrival of a limited contingent of servicemen from North Korea to the temporarily occupied territory of Ukraine, including units of engineering troops, indicating active cooperation between Russia and North Korea. The Center for National Resistance, CNR, reported in September 2023 that Russia was planning to bring North Korean citizens to the occupied territories of Donetsk and Luhansk for construction work. Moreover, Russian President Vladimir Putin, after meeting with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in June of this year, persuaded his counterpart from Pyongyang to open diplomatic missions in Donetsk and Luhansk. The CNR assessed that North Koreans were invited to ensure the supply of labor in these regions, as the Kremlin's war in Ukraine has resulted in a labor shortage throughout Russia and the occupied territories. Okay, so from what we understood, even I reported this months back, that North Korea was preparing to send engineering troops over to the eastern portion of Ukraine in the occupied territories to help Russia out with labor shortages. We did talk about that months back. But according to this information, looks like we had troops that were actively training alongside Russian soldiers over in the Donetsk region that came under attack. And then we had these 6 officers that were killed and 3 more North Korean soldiers that were wounded. So very big news in regards to that. See if we get more information coming out on that. Unfortunately, I don't have any like video footage or anything of the attack, but this was just being reported on mainstream news as of today. So we're also going to jump over to X now, and then I have one more mainstream news report to show you that has some good information in regards to the drone attacks that have been happening on these oil depots inside of Russia. But let's hop on over here to X for a moment. NOAA reports 2 Russian oil depots were targeted last night by Ukrainian drones in Voronezh region. A drone struck a fuel tank, while in the Perm region, fuel containers are burning across an area of 10,000 square meters. Okay, so NOAA reports stating here that 2 Russian oil depots were targeted by Ukrainian drones. Now, the Perm Krai region coming under attack by drones, very possible, considering that it was the same night that we had the Voronezh region attacked with drones as well. So it's very possible that the fire that was started at the Perm Krai region with that facility over there was possibly caused by drones as well. But again, Russia's defense ministry coming out and saying that in that region it was not caused by a drone. I'll show you that information here in just a minute. But let's go ahead and jump into some of these videos. We got 4 of them to check out. Let's start with this first one. Okay, so we can clearly see in this video lots of smoke. Unfortunately, we can't see the facility over here, but according to NOAA reports, this is one of those oil depots that were struck. Now, I'm not going to be able to tell which ones, which videos relate to which oil depot, but I believe the third one that I'm going to show you coming up for sure is the Perm Krai region, as it will show some of the firefighters on scene trying to put the fire out. So we got one more video coming up.
Пока я в атмосфере, словно пепел сгораю, ты тянешь меня в ада, я тебя маню раем.
Вот, видишь небо, и, ох, ебать, смотри, просто охуеть заснялось. Небо, нахуй, и вот просто вот это черное облако, и хуй знает, что там, блядь, может отрава какая-нибудь, может мы нахуй уснем, да не проснемся сейчас. Пиздец, просто.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and stop it there, guys. We could definitely see a major fire has broken out here at one of these oil depots. This might be the one at in the city of Anna in Voronezh, as we can clearly see major fire here. Definitely an oil depot that's on fire, because we can continue to see that fire going up, and this is typically what we see when an oil depot is attacked. So I got a next video coming up, which I believe is from Perm Krai. Take a look.
Орел 130 в сторону. Локализация.
Okay, so we can definitely see from this facility major damage was caused here, major flame as well, and lots of smoke. And at one point when they're spraying the water over here, you can see several of the oil tanks were on fire. We'll see if we can get back to that in just a moment. It was coming up here in just a minute. But again, from what I understand, this is the region of Perm Krai, which is approximately 11 to 1,200 kilometers deep into Russian territory. So we can definitely see there was one tank there that had been burned out. There's one right there too, actually 2. Looks like 2, maybe even 3. So here we go. Here's a good shot there. 3 for sure right there were destroyed. So very crazy to see that. Let's hop into our last video here.
Вот он прям надо мной пролетает, урод. Прям в нефтебазу летит. Вот это вот дела. Вот так вот, ребят, бомбят. Один летит.
Okay, so my apologies, not the best video visually, but we could definitely hear that drone coming in at night and then eventually slamming into one of these oil depots. We can see the explosion of it right here. So very crazy to see that. So let's go ahead and jump into the information here. I've got this article pulled up on Newsweek that talks about these attacks, just so I can get you more information on what happened here, as we only have very limited videos coming out showing some of these attacks. So fire engulfs Russian oil depots following Ukrainian drone attack. This just came out today, October 4th, 2024. And it says here, Russian authorities have struggled to contain several blazes that broke out overnight following a string of Ukrainian drone attacks on the country's oil depots. From 9:50 to 11:30 p.m. Moscow time, attempts by the Kiev regime to carry out terrorist attacks using aircraft-type UAVs against targets on the territory of the Russian Federation were thwarted, the Russian Ministry of Defense wrote on Telegram. 6 UAVs were destroyed over the territory of the Belgorod region. 6 UAVs were destroyed and intercepted over the territory of the Voronezh region. 5 UAVs were destroyed over the waters of the Sea of Azov, and 1 over the territory of the Rostov region. Ukraine took credit for the Voronezh attack and said that the target was the Anna Neft product fuel and lubricants storage base in the town of Anna. Okay, so this was the one that we know for sure was struck, according to Ukraine. And it says here the work of the Russian air defense system was recorded in the area of the facility. Ukraine's general staff wrote on Telegram, at least one of the vertical tanks is confirmed to have been hit. There was a fire. So here's a picture. And if you notice, the caption says, Russian firefighters battle a large-scale blaze at an oil depot in Perm-Krai. Okay, this is the video I was showing you guys earlier that had those oil tanks that were definitely destroyed. Russia's emergencies ministry reported no casualties and that the blaze was eventually extinguished, okay, according to Russia's Ministry of Emergency Situations via Telegram. Okay, and it also says here on Telegram, Voronezh Oblast Governor Alexander Gusev said that several UAVs were destroyed by Russia's air defenses, falling debris from which had caused the fire. Once again, as they always state, falling debris caused the fire, but we did have that video footage that appeared to show a drone smashing into what is being confirmed as one of the oil depots for sure inside the town of Anna in the Voronezh region. Okay, so Gusev said no casualties were recorded in the blaze, which was extinguished immediately after the firefighters arrived. On Friday morning, a larger fire also broke out in the Perm-Krai around 1,118 miles from Ukraine, according to the Russian Emergencies Ministry. A fire in the Perm-Krai has been extinguished on 10,000 square meters. Russian Emergencies Ministry investigators are establishing the cause of the fire, the ministry said, noting that drone attacks were not being considered as a possible cause. Okay, so see again, the one in Perm-Krai, they're reporting that it was not a drone that caused it. So was it some sort of sabotage event? Maybe somebody blew this place up. Who really knows what happened here? But definitely 2 major fires at different oil depots, one in the Voronezh region and then one up in the Perm-Krai region, okay? So let's hop into some other news. I've got more things to show you guys as well. This is from Volodymyr Zelenskyy. Just a quick update from him. Right now he's in the Sumy region and he met with top commanders. Also Oleksandr Syrsky was there. And he got some updates on the front line, what's happening inside the Kursk region, what's happening in the Donetsk region. And then also they discussed the upcoming winter that's coming over there, that they're definitely going to have electrical issues as many of their energy infrastructure has been damaged or destroyed by Russia. So they were just discussing different things over here. And it says, today, I received reports from the head of Security Service of Ukraine and law enforcement officials. Commander Syrsky reported on the situation at the front lines, including the Donetsk directions, Kharkiv region, the south, the border areas, and the Kursk region. I visited our soldiers participating in the Kursk operation, particularly the 82nd Brigade, and presented them with state awards. I am proud of the bravery of all our men, our warriors. It's important to understand that the Kursk operation is truly strategic. It motivates our partners to stand with Ukraine, be more decisive, and apply pressure on Russia, pressure that will help us end this war with justice. So I wanted to show you this. It's 2 minutes and 46 seconds from Volodymyr Zelenskyy, the president of Ukraine, giving us the most recent update on today's date, October 4th, 2024. Take a look.
Бажаю здоров'я, шановні українці, українки. Сьогодні Сумщина, робота в регіоні, провів тут засідання ставки. Головне питання – захист нашої інфраструктури, нашої енергетики, робота ППО. була доповідь наших військових, повітряні сили, командування «Схід», також доповідь міністра енергетики, були представники державних енергокомпаній, керівники всієї вертикалі між урядом та громадами. Є рішення, щоб підтримати регіон, окремо, що будуть наради по енергетиці Сумщини, інших наших прикордонних областей. Перед зимою найголовніше – це резерв міцності. Були доповіді керівника Служби безпеки України, наших правоохоронців, доповідь головкома Сирського щодо фронту. Це і Донецькі напрямки, це і Харківщина, це і південь держави, це і прикордоння, це і Курщина. Відвідав наших воїнів, які беруть участь в Курській операції. 82-га бригада, відзначив державними нагородами. Пишаюся хоробрістю усіх наших хлопців, наших воїнів. І дуже важливо розуміти, що Курська операція реально стратегічна річ, те, що додає мотивації партнерам, додає мотивації бути з Україною, бути більш рішучими і тиснути на Росію, тиснути так, як це може допомогти нам закінчити війну. Війну закінчити справедливо. Сьогодні тут, на Сумщині, зустрівся з головами громад, подякував, що вони в своєму регіоні, вони зі своїми людьми дійсно дбають, переживають за Сумщину, за всю Україну. Говорили про те, що може підтримати усіх нас, наш захист, наших людей. Особливо емоційна зустріч була з освітянами цієї неділі. День працівників освіти. Особисто їм подякував, нашим вчителям, викладачам, керівникам закладів освіти Сумської області, Чернігівщини, Харківщини, Полтавщини, які були сьогодні саме тут. І в усій Україні, і в всіх регіонах абсолютно самовіддані люди і реально дають надію на майбутнє. Коли освіта працює, коли у дітей, студентів є можливість вчитись, це значить, що країна житиме, діти України, ставши дорослими, матимуть нормальне життя. Я хочу подякувати всім, хто в Україні з Україною, хто бореться і працює заради нашої держави, хто навчає наших дітей, хто береже нашу українську культуру. Обов'язково захистимо Україну. Дякую Сумщині. Слава Україні!
All right, guys, so that's the latest update from Volodymyr Zelenskyy. As you can see, it talked about a lot of different things. But something I wanted to note about him is this guy works very hard. I mean, he is all over the place. Just yesterday, he was meeting with the new NATO Secretary General, Mark Rutte, inside of Kyiv, and they discussed lots of different things in regards to Ukraine potentially joining NATO in the future, and then also Mark Rutte coming out and announcing that NATO's vision is not going to change on Ukraine. They're going to continue supporting them. So Volodymyr Zelenskyy, he definitely works very hard. I mean, he is everywhere, all over the place. Every day he's somewhere doing something important, working on something hard for Ukraine, trying to improve Ukraine and get them ultimately the defense that they need. That's something big that he even talked about in here, that they're working on strengthening Ukraine. And that definitely seems to be one of their major goals right now, is strengthening Ukraine in every single way so they can try to end this war with Russia. So let's move on to another update now. Max 24 reports. It was reported that a Ukrainian jet UAV had flown over the Belgorod region. So this video has been popping up all over X today of what appears to be a jet-propelled UAV drone. Now, I don't know if this is the Palinitsia drone. It's very possible because we know that Ukraine has these, and Volodymyr Zelenskyy recently came out stating that they were using these against Russia now. So take a look. It's just 7 seconds long. All right, pretty insane, right? It's pretty cool to see that thing flying in the sky. Now, if it is the Palinitsia drone, that is pretty awesome to be able to see that for the first time. But when that thing's flying over, it definitely sounds like a fighter jet flying over almost. Okay, so yeah. So what's being reported is this is one of the a rocket-propelled drone, not the typical drones that we usually see Ukraine using. Okay, so for the first time, it's very possible over the Belgorod region, this could be the Palinitsia drone being used. Let me know what you think down below on what type of drone that might be, if it is a Palinitsia drone or maybe a different one, okay? So let's move on to another update now. Anton Gerashenko, the enemy is 7 kilometers away from Pokrovsk. Head of local military administration, about 13,000 people remain in the city, including 94 children. 80% of Pokrovsk infrastructure is damaged. Just yesterday, there were 2 shellings It's 6 KABs at 10:30 hours. They were shelling the city center. Unfortunately, we have 4 wounded, 2 from the first shelling, and at 2300 hours, there were also 3 KABs, or guided aerial bombs, and they were also wounded. This is civilian infrastructure, as always, critical infrastructure. There is almost none. The enemy leaves us without electricity, without water, without gas. That is, let's say, they are preparing us for winter. Okay, so this is Pokrovsk, that key transport hub city on the eastern front in the Donetsk region that Ukraine is desperately trying to hold on to right now. So the latest report we have is the enemy, which is the Russians, is 7 kilometers away. Okay, they're approaching very quickly. I think last time I heard they were approximately 10 kilometers away. So the head of local military administration reporting they are now 7 kilometers away. Okay, so if you notice here, 13,000 civilians still live here, including 94 children, and 80% of Pokrovsk infrastructure is damaged. Okay, so they don't have any running water here. They have really nothing. We'll go ahead and play this some video footage. As you can see here, October 2nd, 2024. Damaged buildings. This town is definitely being heavily hit right now as the Russians are getting very close to it. So this is video footage of some of the damages that are being reported. We can see some damage on top of that building here. This is that bridge that connected Voronezh and Pokrovsk, and looks like the Russians had destroyed it weeks back. So this is just video footage showing some of the damages in the city after the attacks that have been taking place. So that's just the kind of latest update in regards to Pokrovsk. Wanted to share some information coming out from the Donetsk region. Looks like the Russians are still approaching this city, and it's going to get pretty crazy over here. And many of the people that are still here are going to need to get out very soon if Russia ends up getting any closer. So we'll move on to our next update now. This is from the Kursk region. Max 24, British tanks, Challenger 2 in the Kursk direction. Okay, so I wanted to share this with you as we had some pictures coming out of what appears to be a British Challenger 2 tank in the Kursk region. And 2 photos were shared here on X showing that. So we've definitely been seeing lots of NATO equipment flowing into the Kursk region. We know for sure Polish tanks are over there right now. German tanks are there too. Now we've got confirmation that British Challenger 2 tanks are showing up in the Kursk region as well. So now moving on, Globe Eye News, Russia to remove the Taliban from its list of terrorist organizations. Okay, so this just came out today. This is pretty big news. It looks like Russia is not going to designate the Taliban as a terrorist organization anymore. And just recently, Putin came out and said that the Taliban were technically important to Russia in their fight against terrorism. So that doesn't surprise me that they're coming out and doing this. But here's a picture, Sergei Lavrov with some of the members of the Taliban. And yeah, so that's huge news today that it looks like the Russians are going to be cooperating more with the Taliban in the coming days and weeks. So I thought I'd share that with you. We also had this video coming out from Sprinter Family. Training Russian military personnel is in ways to avoid drones. So I wanted to show you this as we've got some video footage. There's no sound in this video, but we'll go ahead and just let it roll here. And these are Russian soldiers training to defend themselves from FPV drones, okay? These are first-person view drones, just tiny little drones that Ukraine uses all the time inside of Ukraine and against the war with Russia. And we see Ukraine using a lot of these, so they're literally training the soldiers on how to defend themselves. I thought it was kind of funny. There's one part in here where one of the soldiers throws his rifle at the drone when it's coming towards him right here. Yeah, so apparently they're training to protect themselves from these drones. This is how deadly these things are, okay? Ukraine uses a lot of these, especially in the Eastern Front and also in the Kursk region right now. So I thought I would share that with you guys. That's coming out from Russia's defense ministry. 2 more things to share with you. Max 24, Crimea and Sevastopol. We expect a massive strike with air missiles and ballistics in the next 1 to 4 days. Danger to BEC. The main targets is the Crimean Bridge, thermal power plants, and airfields. We do not predict an attempt by suicide bombers. Okay, so this is most likely coming out on Telegram from Russian Z channels. Max 24 shares these every now and then. So does Dmitry, War Translated Dmitry. I share some of his posts. So who knows if there's going to be a strike here, but it looks like the Russians are warning that they expect a massive strike with missiles and ballistic missiles as well in the next 1 to 4 days. So it looks like the Crimean Bridge could come under attack, thermal power plants and airfields. So we'll see if that's going to be the case here, but I wanted to share that with you in case we do get some reports here in the next few days of major attacks with potentially maybe the Neptune missiles that Ukraine is producing right now. And we just heard recently that their ballistic missile that they've been testing just passed its flight test. So I wouldn't be surprised we start seeing that being used very soon as well. Okay, so one last thing to share with you, Kiev Independent. France to send another 12 Caesar howitzers to Ukraine, minister says. French-German defense company KNDS signed a deal on October 3rd for the supply of 12 Caesar howitzers financed by Ukraine, French Defense Minister Sébastien Lecornu said. Okay, so it looks like we're going to have 12 Caesar howitzers sending over to Ukraine coming from France very soon. So that's some big news in regards to France because we haven't really heard of very many weapons packages over the last like month or not month, excuse me, like week or two. We did hear of that big $8 billion aid package coming from the U.S. So it looks like a lot of the supply is going to be coming from the U.S. for right now, but we did get this report coming from France that they will be sending some howitzers to Ukraine. So I just wanted to share some of the latest news coming out from the war between Russia and Ukraine. I hope you guys got something out of this. If you did, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. With that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.